Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's office is now finally admitting what a Kxan investigation first revealed nearly 2 years ago. Staffing problems have led to a backlog of crime victims waiting for help.
As Kxan investigator Matt Grant reports now, a new legislative change is in the works to address discrepancies we first uncovered.
A violent robbery.
I just remember hearing running footsteps behind me.
At this Austin grocery store,
I was flying through the air and then landed down on the pavement.
Still haunts Terry Rager.
And I looked up to see a guy running away with my purse.
3.5 years later.
What's going through your mind at that moment?
I just couldn't believe it happened to me.
At 70 years old, the scars are physical.
I had hit so hard on the ground that it jammed my wrist and my elbow.
And lasting.
I'm still working with this therapist. I was diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, and depression.
We were trying to get money to get diapers and stuff because our daughter was running out.
Her accused attacker confessed to the still open case.
I grabbed the purse and started running. I remember hearing her screaming like, ow, ow. Yeah, I felt bad because it's an old person, you know.
Also admitting to multiple other purse snatchings, getting less than $20, and for one armed robbery in Bastrop, more than 20 years in prison.
I should have just went to church.
Could you please update me on the status of this? I've not received any correspondence, phone calls, emails, or anything.
In January, Rager applied to Texas's Crime Victims Compensation Fund for help with chiropractor bills, therapy visits, and lost wages. She says she was told,
"You should be prepared to wait up to 6 months for your claim to be reviewed."
Her application denied, appealed, and complicated, she says, because she's self-employed.
I said, "Oh, okay. So if I had a W-2, I would be good to go." And she said, "Yep."
What do you think about that?
I can't say it on camera. So it's a bunch of BS. That's just stupid. It shows how inadequate the system is.
New data we obtained shows Rager isn't alone. In April, victim claims took 238 days on average to pay out, a near all-time high. Paxton's office, which manages the fund and its disbursements, now blames the backlog on something we first uncovered 2 years ago, staffing shortages, but says that's successfully resolved, claiming to lawmakers in February payments were going out in less than 60 days.
No, they aren't. That's just not true.
Ready? Okay. We first revealed the data discrepancy last year. Whistleblowers tell us the skewed data stems from Paxton's office averaging in rape kit exam reimbursements, which are paid within days directly to hospitals, not victims or their loved ones. Now lawmakers are taking action. According to these interim charges, the Texas House Committee on Appropriations is directed to look at the Crime Victims Fund and its performance. Austin Democratic Representative Donna Howard sits on that committee and tells KXAN in a statement, "It is deeply concerning and disappointing to know that the Attorney General's office has continued to fail to meet the goals of the program," adding, "I look forward to working with my colleagues to find solutions ahead of next session."
Well, I've got my chiropractor bills here.
Howard calls Rager's experience unacceptable. We reached out to the AG's office, and while we didn't hear back, she finally did.
Give me a break.
After we started asking questions, she says her chiropractor bills were finally approved.
It shows claim status approved.
For everything else, it's still a wait.
Victims don't need to be re-traumatized.
If anyone from the Attorney General's office is watching this, what would you want to say to them?
They can do better. They can do way better.
We want to know what the AG's office is doing to help victims of violent crime in Central Texas. But for the past 10 months, Paxton's office has repeatedly ignored our requests for comment by email, phone, and in person, something we've shared with lawmakers who have oversight over the program's budget.
When I called my case manager, every time it went to voicemail, and every time I left a voice message, I never got a call back.
You should be prepared to wait up to 6 months for your claim to be reviewed.
Held up, a Kxan investigation into the state's embattled crime victims fund. For more than 2 years, we've been investigating this division out of the Texas Attorney General's office and the many viewer tips you've sent us about long wait times and payments and severe backlogs.
Well, now, for the first time since we uncovered the staffing and funding issues behind those problems, the Attorney General himself laid out what he says his agency needs to keep up and what he really thinks about KXAN investigator Matt Grant's relentless reporting.
General Kxan, can you talk about what you're doing to reduce the backlog with the Crime Victims Compensation Fund?
Attorney General Ken Paxton had nothing to say to us.
General Kxan, the Crime Victims Compensation Fund.
Can you reach out to our press office?
We have.
Okay.
We've reached out for a year. We haven't heard back. We're just trying to get answers on behalf of crime victims.
The silence isn't new.
We haven't heard back, so we're here in person to try to keep getting answers on behalf of victims.
For more than a year, Paxton's office has ignored our attempts to get an update. But at a Texas Senate budget hearing Tuesday at the Capitol, the AG did respond to lawmakers.
The Office of the Attorney General is committed to performing its duties with excellence.
Lawmakers say they are looking to inject the division with around $40 million in lost federal funds.
We want to give you what you need. We want the victims to have what they need.
They asked Paxton about the attack on a DPS office last year that killed 2 people and their funerals, which led to a discussion about the agency's $6,500 cap on burial expenses for crime victims.
I was like, wow, $6,000 for a funeral doesn't pay for the funeral, doesn't even get close to it.
It definitely needs to be updated as far as costs.
The agency is also proposing more transparency in response to our investigation, which exposed its own performance metrics were skewed by averaging victim claims, which last year were taking on average nearly 8 months to process, with rape kit exam reimbursements to hospitals, which are paid directly and within days.
So if anyone who's been sitting around Austin has seen the KXAN reporter who likes to talk about how terrible the Office of the Attorney General is for combining these two numbers, which is what we are required to report, which is why we are proposing to separate those out. Our numbers did not, I think, properly reflect the work that we were doing.
The Senate committee presentation is just the first step in the legislative session's budget process. The House must still hear the AG's proposal, then the two sides must come to a compromise on a final budget by the end of May.
Part of the budget passed by Texas lawmakers today includes a change in law sparked by 2 years of KXAN investigations into the state's Crime Victim Compensation Fund. New reporting requirements will give a more accurate picture of how quickly victims are paid and how well the program is working. We discovered the Attorney General's office, which manages the program, has been using a flawed formula, combining different data sets and showing a shorter wait time. That data will now be separated to make it clear on how long victims are waiting on average for a first payment. During our investigation, we found some are waiting on average 8 months. The new law, once signed by the governor, will set a 90-day average benchmark. And you can catch up on our complete coverage by looking for the Held Up link in the investigative section of KXAN.com.